Well, and welcome everybody to, I guess, our third episode of Self Care Summer. And for the first 4 weeks of Self Care Summer, we're focusing in on mental health, mental awareness. And it was said in our first episode that it's okay to not be okay. And there's been a lot of conversation around mental health, whether it be in news, or maybe just amongst each other. And I think the important thing here when we do these things is not only to share this with everybody, because we never know when we can help that one person that's struggling, but also it's important for us to open up that conversation on a daily basis because it's good for us as well to share. And so I'm briefly going to, before I introduce our guest today, this week is all about resources. Sometimes it's difficult to find the right resource for you. And over the first 2 weeks, we had some incredibly passionate stories that were shared by people that we work with, we admire in our industry. And kudos to Randy and and Kanal and Max for sharing their stories. We've had some incredible professionals that have come on and talked with us as well and have given us some techniques. But don't be fooled. Each and every one of us suffers from something. I'll briefly share with you without going into too much detail. I have in the past myself suffered from depression. And I know what it feels like to turn the lights off, sit in the dark, and not want to talk to anybody. It's really, really difficult on those days. You've probably, in your own world suffered from anxiety. Guess what? So have I as well. And so amazingly, over the last couple of weeks, some of those techniques and resources that were shared with us up to this point, are stuff that are things that I've used myself in the past. So don't be fooled. You're not alone if you're listening to this right now, or you're going to listen to this a little bit later. We're all touched by, mental care, and it's important for us to talk about it. It's not something that makes us weak any longer. This is something, when we talk about it, that makes us actually stronger. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength going forward. So I'm happy to sort of talk with anybody who's watching this at any time. Just reach out to me. I'm easy to get a hold of, and I would love to just have that chat and share my personal experiences with you if you would want that as well. But let's shift gears. And today, like I said, was all about resources. And we've been lucky enough to be part of an association, Mortgage Professionals Canada, that provides an abundance of resources for us. But what I'd like to do right now is sort of the man where I can't find any information on him to introduce him. He's very elusive when it comes to that, but everybody actually knows him. And so I'll bring Paul Taylor into the conversation today. Paul Taylor is the president and CEO of Mortgage Professionals Canada. And for those that maybe are not part of the mortgage industry currently, this is the national association that we have for mortgage brokers and agents. And there's a wealth of information and resources that become available to us. But for the last, since 2016, Paul's led the charge to not only get those resources out in front of everybody in our industry, but also for their families as well. And Paul, welcome today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Trevor. Good to be here.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today, Paul, is probably just do like an interview style and just, talk about the association a little bit, and then maybe lead down the path of, some of the resources and the initiatives that the association's taken on behalf of our industry. But first, if I could ask you this, for those that are not aware, what are those things that, Mortgage Professionals Canada, stand for and provide to the folks that are in the mortgage space?
Absolutely, yeah. So thanks for the question. For the sake of context, you actually did a great job at the beginning. We are an industry organization that really does represent all of the businesses that provide mortgage brokered mortgages. So by head count, the vast majority of the membership belong to brokerages, agents, depending on where you are in the country, associates, sub-brokers. But we do have lenders as members of ours as well. So there are a couple of the Schedule A banks. The mortgage insurers also belong. CMHC is a member of ours, as are Sagen and Canada Guarantee. Outside of the Schedule A banks, probably every other lender that isn't a credit union that you've ever heard of also belongs to our organization. So we have a board of directors that are elected from within that group. We have generally a good mix of folks that set the strategy for us, that are brokers, agents, as well as lenders and insurers. And we really do our best to support the community that is that business. Like most associations, we spend a lot of time talking to government about the state of the industry, the state of the economy. We provide an awful lot of education to our members. We've got great relationships with regulators, and so we provide the vast majority of licensing and relicensing education to the community in Canada as well. We also, of course, do our best to keep our members informed with new trends or anything that's happening from a regulatory perspective. And of course, with the lockdowns and such, mental health and just the overall sort of well-being of our community has really become kind of top of mind for us. And it's because our board of directors really are made up from the membership, they're elected volunteers, that they really do bring the concerns up to the strategic table from within the community. It's been a crazy year. I don't think anybody anticipated the lockdown. We're on, like week 70 now of a 2-week shutdown. We were all anticipating that we'd be back to normal long before now. At least we can see the end in sight. I actually got my second inoculation myself about 2 weeks ago now. And from what I read yesterday, we have greater than 75% of folks in Ontario now with at least one shot, and we're about a quarter of the population at 2. So we're moving the right way. But through that period, and even as we're still sort of closing it down, the lack of contact with people, having to do everything remote like this, really does have an impact on your psyche, and it can erode your ability to connect with people. It really makes people feel isolated in some instances, and that feeling of being alone, depending upon what else is happening in your life, can also really become a bit of a trigger and spiral down. We did hear some very sad stories actually about individuals within our membership that made some drastic decisions, probably didn't see that they had an option. And we wanted to make sure that we could provide as much support as possible to anybody that was feeling as though they didn't have anybody to connect with. So we quite specifically put together some programs. We have some free educational offerings for our members that talk specifically to, first of all, how to manage burnout, but then other things along the lines of mental health and awareness. And there's self-diagnosis tools that we offer as well. We obviously are not clinicians or physicians. We always recommend you talk to a doctor. But if you're feeling a little unsettled, shall we say, you can answer a few questions and it will give you a couple of pointers as to things you could consider, ways to take a break, eventually talk to a healthcare professional. We also, we had a couple of guest speakers. I'll talk to all of this again in a bit more detail shortly, but we hired a couple of guest speakers that were experts in the field of burnout and mental health and stress to talk quite specifically to members. We actually also made those available when they were live to everybody, because it's not just our membership. Obviously, this affects currently everybody's in the same sort of boat. And we also, the board really wanted to ensure that we didn't just sort of check a box and say, we know mental health is a concern, we ran a session, we're done. We wanted to make sure we had a support program that would continue in perpetuity and would extend beyond the current requirement. So we've included as part of the membership fee now what would traditionally have been considered sort of an employee assistance program or a snap-on to a group benefit program. So included with your membership is access to counseling for mental health, or, honestly, if you just need to talk to somebody about other things in your life that are stressful for you. The service it will provide you with 30 minutes worth of counseling at no charge. And then if you want to continue the sessions because you think you found a good fit in a counselor, the fees are about 50% of street rate for that type of a service. We considered a lot of things actually at the board level. We talked about, setting up helplines of our own, but as I said, we're really not clinicians, and we don't have the training really to be able to make sure that we're providing the appropriate support. I'm nervous. I'm delighted to talk to anybody that ever feels like they would like to share anything with me. But I do in the back of my head have this concern that I might inadvertently say the wrong thing or say something triggering. And so I would recommend always that if somebody has a concern that I know I'm not an expert in, I would refer them to a professional for assistance. Much like you, Trevor, actually, I've been to a counselor for support myself on a couple of instances through some pretty stressful periods in my life. And I actually found it incredibly beneficial. There are some things that I think societally we just potentially feel are a little bit stigmatized. I don't want to feel like I'm burdening my friends with some of the things that are on my mind, which is really quite sad. Because I know as a friend to others, I would welcome the opportunity to even just let somebody get it off your chest. I might be no help to you at all, and I have nothing constructive to say, but I can certainly be a sympathetic and non-judgmental ear and at least help you, even if you need to work things out verbally in your own mind. I would love to be that. But I understand the hesitancy as somebody that has had some of those issues in the past to do that. And so I found counseling services for myself actually were really beneficial, because at the very least, it always allowed me to just kind of talk to a face that could sort of nod and offer some understanding.
And sometimes, Paul, just to let you know, things are still, they're going to be okay, right?
Right. Yeah. This is not the end of the world. The sun will still come up tomorrow morning. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's just on that quick topic there. It's amazing that if you hold out your hand, generally speaking, one of your friends is going to be there to help you, right? And for me, that was the case. Just going back to the scenario I was in, that friend was there, and hey, why don't you give this person a call? And I was incredibly fearful when I made that call, but once you sort of just break the ice, everything changes and becomes that much better, right?
Yeah, very much so. It's actually quite surprising, the reaction. I mean, I can only speak personally, but I was really nervous to express a couple of things that I was thinking to one or two of my friends, because I wasn't really sure how they were going to respond. I didn't know if they were going to judge me, if it was going to cost me some friends. And the support I got was incredibly touching. I can't express actually the feeling of support that I got from just the acceptance of, I understand why that would feel difficult for you. All by itself is a really simple statement, make the world a difference to me at that point.
Yeah, and it's amazing. The sun shines tomorrow always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to sort of just shoot back a little bit. So the board of directors comes up with a plan, and you want to do something in perpetuity. I didn't say that properly, but you get what I'm trying to say, which was incredibly important. How did you go about picking the right partners, and then let's get into maybe the partners that you picked and why?
Sure. So we have had a relationship with an online education platform provider for many years. The company there is called ViewBiz. If we're developing material of our own, we generally house it on their learning management platform. And if our members are registering for a program, it's kind of a pass-through from us to them. Because they work with a very large number of other associations and other sort of service providers, also have access to other folks' catalogs of programs. So when we needed access quite quickly to some mental health or some support types of education, we made a call to them, and they immediately said, yeah, here's a raft of catalog that we can offer. And much like ourselves, actually, a lot of other segments of industry understand this isn't the sort of thing anybody is going to want to profit from. If there are others out there that can benefit from the material that we've created, we just want it available. So really quite happy with the way that relationship worked out. I can, in a minute or two, actually, I'll show you on the website for those that are members how to get to those programs, because everything is listed there quite easily. So we sort of made some selections of what was available to us. We picked the things that we felt were the most applicable for our membership, and those are the ones that we've offered up. In terms of the one-off sort of speaker sessions that we've run, Jennifer Moss was recommended to us actually from two of our board members as being an expert in this field. Internally, many of you guys will probably know Cara Schulman. She is our VP of Membership and Events. So Cara did quite a lot of research It's amazing actually what you can even just find on YouTube or places like Speaker Spotlight that have some of these professional speaker stables. You can watch various segments of their presentation and get a feel for the material and the flavor, and even the body language and the manner in which it's delivered. So Jennifer was actually very quickly shortlisted and selected as the presenter for us. First National actually picked up the tab for the professional speaking fee there. Also, of the same mind, we just want to make this available. We promoted it about 3 weeks in advance. We do most of that by email, some by social media as well. So if you are not a member of NPC, you can still hopefully benefit from some of these things that we do make available to sort of the general audience, as long as you follow us on social media, because we will make sure that those announcements are there as well. If you missed the live event, though, unfortunately, we are still under contract to only be able to show recorded segments to those that belong. So we do have some portions that are available only for members after the fact. But for upcoming live sessions, they will be available to everybody. And finally, the EAP program, there's actually quite a lot out there. Internally, again, our CFO and SVP of operations is the guy that I couldn't really live without. I'm saying that everybody on the management team, actually in Mortgage Professionals Canada, are incredibly strong. They often make me look good in spite of myself, really. The association is definitely run by the managers that are delivering all of the materials. I'm very, very fortunate that way.
That feeling I do know with our own organization as well, so I can appreciate that for sure.
Yeah. Samir actually did a ton of research into various employee assistance program types of offerings. There's a good number out there that have similar kinds of things. The reason why we selected People Corp at the end, which I'll show you as well on the website, is the counseling can be provided online. You can sign up online, so there's no real geographic limitations. You can select a counselor. You can have a 30-minute discussion. If that individual doesn't feel like a good fit for you, if there's a bit of a communication gap, then you can request another counselor and again enjoy another 30-minute session until you feel that you found somebody that you can work with. So we found that was really important to us. We wanted to make sure that if anybody was in the situation where they felt they needed some support, it's critical to feel comfortable if you're going to be making some statements which we know are going to leave you feeling a little bit vulnerable the first time around. So that was definitely the clincher for us. They're reasonably inexpensive for us. It's not apparent to the general membership. We're fortunate actually in that our membership has been growing for the last 16, 18 months. And so that has given us a little bit more revenue to play with. And the board obviously strategically are reinvesting that back into benefits for the members to enjoy. So the increased revenue we got from the membership dollars ultimately will offset the cost for this. But on an individual basis, the membership dues don't have to increase because we're enjoying a bit of growth. So it'll all balance out. Really, really happy to be able to provide that because, as I said, we really didn't want to be seen to be just sort of checking a box or addressing what felt like sort of the political hot button of the day and then patting ourselves on the back for a job well done. It's much more about us having this sustained program in place so that whatever might come in the next 12, 24, 18 years, really, there's still that support in place and hopefully members will be cognizant of it. Even if you yourself don't take advantage of the program, I really want our members to remember it's available and recommend your own friends within the industry take advantage of it if you can see that somebody is struggling. Obviously, I think as you've said, everybody will say first, talk to me. I'm happy to talk to you. But if it's a matter that's really personal that somebody will struggle with, very good. Then talk to somebody here. First discussion costs you nothing.
That's right, and that's the key is just have that quick discussion. So a quick question on that. I know you're going to show us some areas where as members we can find the right information. But say we're members and we had a family member that maybe needs some help and that sort of thing. Can we recommend the partnership or can we sort of somehow find them help through the association?
I believe so, yeah. So I mean, the program that's available, you do need a membership account first to log into the site to sort of activate an account for that counseling service. But I think once you're in, if it's your spouse or your children, parents, I'm sure you can arrange a counseling service online that's convenient for both of them to attend.
Awesome.
I will, if it's okay, actually, if I can take just a moment, I will share my screen and just walk people through a little bit of how the website layout is. So if you're watching this, you know where to navigate to find some of these materials.
That would be perfect.
So let me just share this screen here. So this is our homepage. You can read a lot about sort of the various things that we generally work on at NPC, but I've sort of bookmarked these things for quick access. If you click on the education navigation at the top, you can then filter results within our pretty large education catalog, specifically for programs that are addressed for wellness. I think everything within our wellness category here is at no charge, and you can see that we've got some courses quite specifically dealing with, as a business owner, how you might prepare to deal with COVID and shutdown and potentially reopening, how to manage employees' concerns. But then we have some more broad topics about conquering anxiety, managing workplace stress, etc. These are available at your convenience, on demand, whenever you may want them. If you're looking for the webinar that was presented, where are we now, July? A little over about 5 weeks ago now, we were, as I said, benefited greatly from Jennifer Moss's presentation here. She's also author of a book. You can find a recording of this session, if you remember again, within our events section, under webinars, and Jennifer Moss. Now, because Jennifer is obviously a paid professional speaker, we are contractually restricted only to 90 days worth of access to this. So if you haven't seen it yet, you have until, I think we're probably stretching a day or two, you've got until August 26th to watch this, because it's basically 3 months from the May 26th date when it was initially provided. And then finally, the health and mental wellness resources you will find under our membership, member benefits programs, and then we have kind of a drop-down menu on the side for the drill down. There's details specifically about the People Corporation program here, and these links will actually navigate you away from our site to the People Corp site, I believe. There we go. So we've got a flyer in there that will give you a little bit more details of how it works. And then, is that link live?
No,
Looks like it is. So even within the People Corp platform, in addition to the counseling, they do also have other things available that are no charge, just kind of baked into the program for various, how to help quit smoking, reduce your drinking, learn to love exercise. That feels like a stretch, but they've got some material in there that hopefully will help. And we really do want everyone, as much as possible, to avail themselves of these. Just keep them as much top of mind as you can. A bad day can strike at any time. And if you feel like you're getting a little bit down, or you're, as I said, a little uncomfortable, a 5-10 minute review of some of the material that we have in here could hopefully put you on a path that will help create a bit of a solution or an exit from your current mind state for you.
Yeah, 100%. I think, there's been, and this is what this week was all about, is the resources that are available to us in our industry and part of our membership with NPC. For those that are maybe watching at some point here in the future, if you're not in part of the industry, but a family member is, ask them to see how you can, potentially get some help through the program as well, because they would have access through the portal. So I think NPC's done an absolutely phenomenal job in terms of supporting its membership, and especially when it comes specifically to what we're talking about today, and its mental wellness. Paul, your leadership has been absolutely amazing with the association. I want to thank you for spending the time today, and coming on and talking about, what you and the entire team, because it is a team effort, as you mentioned, have come up with for the membership. I hope that, after today, we help at least one person, hopefully more than that, but we start always with helping one person. So incredibly appreciative. I know you've been on some of the brainstorm sessions with us before to talk about some things, and hopefully you'll continue to stick on if time prevails as we go through the summer and get into some of the physical aspects of wellness as well as the financial aspects of wellness, and maybe we'll have you come on back from an association perspective and just talk about some of the other resources that the association can provide to the membership. But I want to thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, honestly, thanks for the opportunity, Trevor. The more we can get the word out that these things are available, the more value that they'll generate. And to your point, the association really is the sum of its members. It's not me. And all of the ideas that have been generated really and sort of brought forward have come from folks that, like yourself, are the members at FCF. They're just really engaged and want the industry to do well. So everybody that spent any time volunteering or, even provided the opportunity to amplify some of the messages to make sure that people are aware of what we do, thank you very much. We definitely are a stronger community when we're all working together.
For sure we are. All right, everybody. So we are at this is a little bit of a shorter week this week. We're at the 30-minute mark. Please, share this if you can with anybody who you think can be helped by this, especially within the membership and the association, as some of this stuff is directly will directly affect anybody part of the MPC association. And share it with any of the other Facebook groups that are out there, please. If we can help one person, then we've done a good service to our community today. Paul Taylor, thank you so much again. And everybody have a fabulous day. We'll see you next week, next Tuesday at 2 p.m. for Self-Care Summer. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Trevor.